Hello and welcome to a brand new preview episode for Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah,
Hey,
Terrence,
what's up?
and Tiara.
Hello.
Wow. It's only been forever. Gee, I wonder what the
Yeah.
topic is that could drag Tiara out. We'll see.
I don't know if did anything major happen lately.
Nothing about black women, I can tell you that. So
Well,
this
then
is
I can fucking leave then.
all right, fine.
So
Drop it to
ain't
three.
no reason for me to be here.
Sad. There's a preview for episode 266, The Inspection. So this is the 2022 film, quote, based on a true story. A young gay black man with a few options joins the Marines to prove himself to his estranged mother and triumph in a system that casts him aside, unexpectedly finding strength and camaraderie in this new community. So yeah, this is starring Jeremy Pope, Gabrielle Union, and Bokeem Woodbine. So this should be pretty interesting. I believe this is an A24 film, so you can rent this on like Amazon and a number of other places. So check out The Inspection, and we will get into that next week.
I believe it's on Netflix also.
Oh, great, even better. So go ahead and check out The Inspection, and we'll talk about that in depth next week. Okay, the random topic this week, unsurprisingly, because Tiara has decided to grace us with her presence, is all about a black woman shoving an old white man out of the way to try to take over. No, but in all seriousness, President Joe Biden announcing that he is no longer going to seek the nomination for re-election for president, and he endorsed his current vice president, Kamala Harris. And then the world went crazy in all sorts of fun ways. A lot of people got really excited, and conservatives, of course, shit the bed and proved that they didn't understand how nominations work, but that's all fun. So I'll go to Tiara first. One, welcome back. And two, on a scale of 1 to she's a cop, how excited are you?
Is the she's a cop scale? Does that mean like really excited? Because
I don't know. I'm not a fan of cops, guys. Like that's how the scale works. It's bad.
Look, if we're gonna have a felon that's gonna get the Republican nomination, I think I will love a prosecutor who's gonna get the Democratic nomination and make sure this man serves the rest of his life in a jail cell. Yes. I have mixed feelings. Definitely not as angry as I was like 2 days ago when we got the news that Joe Biden stepped down, because these white liberals were getting on my nerves for weeks on end. And it didn't seem like there was a plan on what would happen if he did step aside. It really felt like there was one debate, and then it's like, okay, well, can he finish out the race? And it felt like as a voter that my vote was being ignored, not just mine, but so many others who voted for Joe Biden in the primary. And when people were saying, okay, he should step aside, I noticed there weren't many people saying that Kamala Harris should be the person to take over the nomination. Now, I don't know if they had always felt that way, that she should have, or they were just trying to like keep it close to the vest, or if they were really just going off vibes. But for me, it was like, it has to be her at this late in the game. You're not going to introduce another potential candidate that's going to be favored by the base black women, nor raise the kind of money that you would need to go against Donald Trump. You need someone that people will rally behind, and someone that the country already knows. And Kamala Harris is that person. I mean, we've known her for quite some time now. And when Joe Biden immediately like endorsed her, I was like, okay. I felt hopeful again, and I do feel really excited by the potential of having not just a great candidate, but the first Black woman president in my lifetime. And I know I told y'all this in our chat, but like that means for my whole adult voting life, it would have been a Black man and then potentially a white woman and Hillary Clinton. Sorry, Hillary, that you didn't get to be the president, but then a Black woman. And I'm only 32 years old. So that is, I don't know how to feel in this moment other than excitement. Because that means for your guys' kids, this is what they're going to grow up knowing, potentially. So I think that this nomination means so much to, from a historical perspective in that way, but just like the excitement behind her, seeing how much money she's raised so far, it brings me hope for the future that we can get back on track and also move forward in the way that we need to as a country. So it's not just about her, Kamala Harris, the candidate, but it's about everything else that she stands for and the benefits that we'll get from an administration like hers. And I will say this, I hate Donald Trump and the Republicans. I hate everything that they stand for. I can't wait to watch her wipe the floor with them. I think something that's really contributed to the anger I've been feeling was that it felt like that so many people were afraid that Biden would lose, and I never thought he would have lost. I still think he would have won in the end. But I wanted to be like, this is such a big risk that I know that many of you who are on your podcast, even though we're on a podcast right now, but like white liberals who were talking about it, I'm like, you will never take responsibility if Donald Trump ended up winning, because it felt like it was about to be a self-fulfilling prophecy instead of spending the last few weeks propping up Joe and Kamala Harris's record. The attacks were just the infighting was
insane.
Yeah, anger inducing. Yeah, it was insane. And now that we're seeing people say like, oh, he's a great statesman, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you could have said all of this weeks ago and not made it feel like Joe Biden is super incompetent, which we know he's not, unless there's something else that we just don't know what's going on. But very excited. And also I am proud to say I'm excited about this. I think there's still a lot of people that are playing it like, I don't want to be excited because she's a Black woman and is America ready for a Black woman president. I'm not doing any of that. I think that as Democratic voters, sometimes we just have this mindset that things aren't going to go in our direction and that we're going to lose. And I feel like that's a defeatist attitude. And I don't think we need that energy right now. I think we all know that, like, if you're going to have,
we never do. We never need that energy. Like, period.
Like, be excited, like, because that's the thing that's really going to push her to the finish line to take the White House. And and I saw people saying like this is going to be a really painful thing for Black women to endure, and I'm like, I can see why people say that, and I don't completely disagree. What I'll say is that it wouldn't matter if you were running a Black woman now or 10 years from now. They're always going to throw some sort of misogynist or racist attack. Like that's like the bare minimum. If they didn't do that, I'd be like, what, like, really? Why? Like, so like, what's wrong with y'all? But I think we all know that's the bare minimum of what they're already doing. She knows that. She can handle it. What I just hope is that she picks a really good VP candidate so we can get the ball rolling and send the Republicans home in November.
Yeah. Terrence, what are your thoughts?
That Sunday when I heard that he was stepping down, I was like, oh, they got him to step down. Good for you. I wasn't mad or anything like that. I was just kind of like, okay. I would have been pissed if they had an open convention.
Yes,
that was my thing.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that would have pissed me off. If they didn't pick Kamala, I'd have been like, yo, y'all just want to lose because the convention is next month. It's literally a month away. And then whoever, if it wasn't Kamala, they would have what, a month and a half to like introduce themselves. Hi, America, I'm such and such. I got a month and a half to run. Okay.
Who are you?
Cool. Who are you, nigga? I don't know who you are. I don't get off my screen. I would have voted for them anyway because ain't no way in hell I'm voting for that nigga Trump. But when when black women gave her $2 million the next day, I'm like, oh, okay. So we're doing this. And then that night, they had the black men for Trump. Not for Trump, for Freudian slip. For
What, all
for
seven?
Kamala. Like there's a lot of them stupid ass niggas out there. But when they had the black men for and they raised like $1 million in like an hour and a half. I'm like, oh, even niggas is excited. Okay, all right, let's do this. Your move, honkies. That was my first that was my first thought. Like that was my first thought. But
there's a Latinas for Harris Zoom meeting happening right now, and it was at capacity tonight.
All right, there you go.
Look. I feel like we understand how racist this country is. We understand that, but sometimes we just want to see something different. We do. Like people with normal working brains and that aren't in a cult, we just want to see something different. And like the fact that there's a black woman, like you said, like we got Obama for 8 years, then we got the wild overcorrect in that lunatic Trump. We got Biden. He's done excellent. People will try to claim he didn't, but he's done very good. And Kamala was with him the entire time. She can run off of his record.
Yeah,
she can 100%. Like, yeah, we did this, and this. I think she might be a better orator than he is because at this point, his brain works fine. But like again, he's had a lifetime full of like trying to work through his stutter, and he's 81 years old, and I think it's it ain't working so good anymore. So he does look old when he's up there talking. He just does. I'm not gonna lie and say he does. But she's been with him, and she's a black woman. She's probably been through way more. Like she's been through a lot, just off the strength that she is a black woman. So any nonsense that they throw at her, she'll be able to handle it. And yeah, I'm excited too. I just really hope that we do the right thing, because this country has a tendency to fuck us over a lot.
and fuck itself over too. Like,
yeah, and the thing what pisses me off is the fact that we're even in this situation to begin with. One dude is a criminal, a lunatic. Why is this a 50-50 chance that this nigga might possibly win? I don't understand that's the problem in this country. There's the fact that he even has a chance, right, to even maybe win proves just how fucked up this country really is. And that's very upsetting. Yeah. But when you see his rallies and everything, you just realize, these niggas are crazy. They're insane.
Including the white women who voted for this man over 50% in the last two elections.
I think in 2016, yes, but I think it was
slightly lower in 2020.
It was
it's still way too high. I don't care what percentage it is. It should be zero.
It should be zero. This dude is a serial philanderer, like in sexual.
I'll never understand it. I hate that nigga. I can't stand him. They say you shouldn't hate. Like, no, I hate him. So people are like, why do you hate? Because he's the way the things that he says is like, yes, it's a racist. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Like you're allowed to hate
any black person that is all for Trump. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know. Hold on, I got something for them.
Oh, Lord have mercy, another coon.
There you go. That's how I feel about them. It really pissed me off. But yeah, I'm excited. I hope. Like, I feel like she's gonna win. But
cautious optimism.
This country. Yeah, I think she will. I'm pretty sure she does. She does have a wild record as a district attorney, though. I am like her record as a district attorney kind of sucks.
Well, we're gonna talk about it.
Like her record as a prosecutor, it's not as bad as her record as a district attorney, but
all right, we'll talk about it. Micah, your thoughts?
What is the better image in you people's opinion? Harris being sworn in by Justice Jackson, or Harris being sworn in by that nigga Clarence.
As much as I would love for the idea of just being like, swear me in, you little bitch, to Clarence Thomas.
Justice Jackson all the way.
Yeah, I don't want the historic moment, like, because that's like we get a little bit for like a hot second. That feels good, but the image of Ketanji Brown Jackson swearing Kamala Harris in, that's one like your grandparents have that shit printed out and it's above the walkway in their house type of shit. You know what I mean? It's like Martin, Malcolm, this moment type of shit. Like
let me tell you something. I don't draw as much as I used to, but I appreciate good art, and I want someone to draw the swearing in of President Harris by Justice Jackson in the same vein that Cyclops and Ryu dapping each other up.
I love that image. It's like, oh shit. You know what? I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
If I had my druthers, the petty option would be to have Clarence Thomas come up there to start it, and then Kamala like, nah, fuck you, nigga, and then bring Ketanji Brown Jackson up to do it, because that would be
best
great.
of both worlds that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Look,
no.
Look.
I said the other black one. No, not you. The other.
No. I said the black one.
Yeah, the black one.
Right.
Look, man. The about 30 minutes after Joe Biden endorsed Kamala Harris, I went on YouTube and I saw one of the people that one of the video essayists that I watch, and she had a video up titled "The Kamala Problem."
I watched it too. I watched it and I was like, oh, she about to piss me off. But she was giving the reasons from the others, from like other people. I'm like, okay, I got you.
All right, yeah. But when I saw it, I was like, come on, yo.
Unsubscribe.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Thankfully, I actually watched it. And all right, we're fine. Look, as if you have to label me, I guess I'm center left, and the people on the far right don't like her, and the people on the far left think she's a cop or whatever. So she's all right with me. Look, I'm going to be voting for her. I will proudly wear green and pink at the voting booth to vote for her. Look, this is we're
it might beat you up if you ain't part of that sorority. It might beat you up. Yeah, don't do that.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right.
You just leave it.
It's coral. It's coral. It's not pink. It's coral.
Wait, is your wife's not in a sorority?
She's not. No, she's not in a sorority. She black as shit, but she's not in a sorority. She don't like taking orders. I know that now. Look, I am excited. You know, I am. I feel like this is what everybody needed. I agree with Tiara. If Joe Biden were to continue, I feel like he could have pulled it out. But now that he has stepped down and Harris has stepped up, I feel like I'm even more confident in a Democratic victory and a Trump loss. You know, I've seen people who just I've seen people who just like, I've seen takers online who are just like take, right? Like, well, let's get a woman up there as a vice president. I get it. Yo, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. All right. She look, pick a white guy. That's fine. We got to we got to get their vote too. Right. And this is coming from somebody that don't really know politics, but I've played some strategy video games before. You might not want to. You might not want to throw all your resources into one pot. Yeah, I'm super excited. It's kind of like a breath of fresh air, because goddamn, like they were giving that old man the business, yo. Like it was bordering on elder abuse, yo. Yeah, like it was pretty bad, yo. Like they were negging this old man into like not doing his job, and I don't think he needed to, right? Like, but I've also seen people make like wild comparisons, like, well, my uncle is 84 and he's super spry. Does your uncle have the hardest job in the world?
Right.
Yeah, come on.
Your uncle's retired. Nigga. Like,
Right.
You're retired every day.
Well, I mean, but y'all saw what what's his name? Black people love him. Van Jones.
Nigga, I am too through. I've been through with niggas who are named after road vehicles, yo. Like, what the fuck? Like, stop crying, yo. Stop crying. And I've seen people like, well, you know, Van Jones is a very sensitive person, and you know, he's emotional and all that. Like, all right, yo, but it's weird now. He's
a cloud chaser.
Yeah, yo, like. That right there, this black woman who is not black and doesn't identify as black, she just got the black vote. No, she didn't, nigga.
Oh,
Amber. No, he said that was a bunker buster, nigga.
Yeah,
you know what a bunker buster is, nigga? What the fuck? All right.
He said that she has a political future in front of her and that she was the most dangerous person for the Democrats. And then every time when I think of Van Jones, I think of him in that photo with him sitting next to Jerry Kushner. He's up the cheesing, whatever, like he just finished tap dancing. That image is burned in my brain. That's when I think
he thinks niggas are stupid, you know.
The wild thing
about that really pisses me off. When he said, I'm like, do you think we're dumb?
But like, he's weird. He's a very weird guy because today he came out. He was on CNN. I saw a clip. And
I saw that too.
And I was like,
Monty Jones, was that the one
when he was talking about the black vote? Right?
Yeah, and he's basically like, you know, this call talking about the black men call about Harris. And he was like, all I heard was them saying protect and protect. And the Republican Party is making a real mistake attacking this black woman. And, you know, black men are not going to stand for it. They're going to lose all these black men that they've courted over to the Republican Party. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're not necessarily like these are two very different factions of black men that you're talking about. The ones who are like the Byron Donalds types, those guys aren't going anywhere. Because those guys are pricks. By the way, just as an aside, Terrence, you said you hate Donald Trump, and I'm not a fan of Donald Trump either, by no stretch of the imagination. But I hate Byron Donalds. I hate that motherfucker.
You hate that nigga so much you don't even
his name. I can't stand his ass. Like I saw a clip of him being interviewed by someone that I follow, and I was like, yo. Like this guy asked him a question. This white dude asked him a question, and he was like giving this like going all the way around Robin Hood's barn to get to an answer. And the guy's like, "Can you just fucking answer the question, like you fucking dickhead?" And he's like, "Are you talking or am I talking?" And he did it like a couple of times. I was like, "This white guy has the patience that I could never attain." Because I would have been like, if he would have done that, am I talking, you're talking? I'm like, you can keep talking to your fucking self. And I would have walked right the fuck off. Like, fuck you, dude.
Byron Donalds
we was going to fight? The RNC, motherfucker? Like, fuck you, dude.
One,
no, I hate that dude.
Was he the one that said that Jim Crow was
yes,
better for black
because he's a fucking sellout for white. For white.
And isn't his wife white?
Yes,
I mean,
he has facial hair. I mean, so look.
Yeah, well,
that odds
he's the exception that proves the rule. Now, you know,
I'm not a fan.
The thing I don't.
I looked up Van Jones' wife also. I looked up to see.
What she look like?
She's a white woman, much like Byron Donald's wife, I would assume.
Yeah. I was like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah, that nigga.
I looked up his wife after I heard him talking about like black niggas should protect black women. I was like, what does your wife look like? Oh, okay.
What about Tim Scott's fiance?
Oh, she out of here.
Oh,
like, yeah. No,
I believe she's unemployed.
Yeah. No. The second they said it'll be JD Vance, she was like, and 3, 2.
Yeah, it's like, I gotta check, nigga. Get out of here.
Like, oh, did it clear?
My Cash App is.
So
I don't know if y'all have seen on the Twitters, but now people are coming at the Kamala Harris saying like, y'all know she has a white husband, right?
yeah,
Doug.
his name is Doug. Like, okay,
her
I
husband.
don't give a fuck. By the way,
I used to watch that cartoon in the 90s. Who don't like Doug?
Does he have a dog named Pork Chop? Who cares?
Yeah. The fuck, yo.
Also, like, we'll get into all of that, I'm sure, but like, bro, she's been the vice president for damn near 4 years. Like, did you know her husband was white? Yeah, they came out together, like, when they all won. We know. Like, this is not new information.
This proves that you niggas don't pay attention
to anything.
Pay attention to nothing.
Yeah. Did you know that the Masons were a secret organization? It's not a secret organization.
Like,
they have
bumper stickers. That shit was fucking funny.
Like, you just don't know. Like, stop asking us like bargain basement ass questions.
There's a secret organization. How you know about it?
Like, I don't. My favorite ones are like,
"What the fuck are you telling people?"
My favorite ones are like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but Kamala Harris used to lock up black men. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know who needs to hear this. Like, what do you mean?
Like, who needs to hear? What are you talking about? Again, she was a prosecutor. Like, okay, all right, guys. No context needed.
Some people are so stupid. I'm sorry. I scroll and every day I'm just like, are y'all dumb?
Yes.
That's usually like one of the first words.
Yes, they are dumb. So look, my overall thoughts here are pretty well documented on our political show, but I'll just say it here. Like, I didn't think that debate went well at all. I said, even while we were covering it live, was like, he looks and sounds old as fuck, I believe was the exact quote that I had. And it was a terrible debate for Biden. I did not like this sort of like all full court press to push him out. I didn't care for that. I think sometimes you don't air that type of laundry out in public, like politically, right? Like, whatever, people on the internet chiming in about it, that's fine. But like his own party doing that, I thought was fucked up. But I also said that if you're going to do this, and once the noise got too loud and it was like, this is clearly going to happen at some point, if you're going to do it, Kamala Harris made the most sense. I'm fine with this. I'm actually more than fine with it. It looks like that level of enthusiasm is back in the Democratic Party, which is great, especially at a time that is really scary. And this election is no joke. That being said, like, they literally just put in articles of impeachment on Kamala Harris just this evening, Republicans did, because they are grasping at straw. They're super scared, right? Yeah, Mike Johnson, who is the Speaker of the House, is a Republican, said that they are going to sue to make Joe Biden run. Ooh. They're suing Joe Biden to make him run for president. I was like, that's not how the process works. Like, okay, this seems like you're wasting a lot of time and money. But they're terrified. And they're terrified for one reason that I think is now slowly kind of coming into focus for a lot of people, because there's been so much noise, right? With the assassination attempt and then Joe Biden dropping out and all of that. If you push away the noise, there's something that's very obvious that's going on, which is this is very similar to 2008. And
I was about to say that.
And what Trump has often said, like, whether he mistakenly says it or he kind of purposely says it, like, that he could have beaten Obama, right? Oh, I ran against Obama. Like, you didn't. You're having a senior moment, but okay. But I think that he thinks that he could have beaten him. And now is about as close of an opportunity as you're going to get to have a one-to-one on that. And once all of the noises died down, the media is going to also catch on to this. Like, oh, it's not just a woman running, but it's also a black woman running. And she's on the younger side. And it's not a person who has 30 years of baggage, either made by herself or by the Republican Party and all this opposition shit that they put out, that, you know, she kills people and all this other crazy shit that has been just dumped into the body politic. It's different. She feels different. Young people are hyped about it. That is like, if you're like, look, Mike Johnson is a lot of things. He's not a complete idiot. And I'm sure he understands what the nomination process is, but they're trying to do anything to throw up as much noise to keep people from realizing what the historic moment is. Because when people realize it, there's a lot of people who sit in the middle and go, I don't know, maybe I'll vote, maybe I won't. But when 2008 came around, they were like, oh shit, this is a historic moment. I want to be a part of that. And when that happens, when it happens in this race as well, that is a dangerous game for Republicans. Because their biggest fear is that train is going to leave the station and there's no way they can stop it. And it already looks like it's fucking pulling out the station already with her getting $81 million in a single day. That's insane, right? So I think her pick of VP is important. Frankly, I have my thoughts on who I would like her to pick. As we talked about on our show last night, I have my in my heart who I would like her to pick, but I also have who in my head makes better sense, right? But it'll be telling. It'll be telling to how she sees her potential presidency and who she picks, which is probably like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. We'll probably know. So it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. I was happy to see. I mean, I'm not surprised to see black women supporting her. Duh, that makes all sense in the world. I was happy to see as many as it was black men supporting her as well. Not that I didn't think they would, but there's a lot of like black men being pulled over to the Republican Party, and it was cool to see these black men show that like, no, like fuck that. That's nonsense. We actually pay attention. This is our candidate. And also like, it's nice to know that like all these people who swear that just because they got it right about 2016 with Trump winning, proving yet again that they are mostly wrong, right? These people didn't think Obama was going to win in 2012. They didn't think Joe Biden could win in 2020. And these same people didn't think that Kamala could get the party behind her as quickly as she did. They were wrong. You got one thing right, but you've gotten a bunch of shit wrong. And it's high time people stop listening to them as if they are some sort of prognosticators. They're not. So yeah, I think it's a great thing. But I think again, when people really when the noise turns down of all the bullshit, that's what the conversation is going to be. This is a historic moment, and you better be there or you're going to fucking miss it. And most Americans, for whatever bullshit they got going on, they like to be on the winning team. They really do. They do. And it's like, that's why you see people like, how did you vote for Obama in 2008 and then vote for Trump or vote for Trump in 2016? It's like, because I really want to be on the fucking winning team. They do. Like, yeah, people have their blue and red teams and shit like that. But a lot of people in the middle, they're like, oh shit, things are tracking this way. I want to be on that team. So they don't have to go to work the next day like, hey, Bob, you said so-and-so was going to win and they didn't win. You're an idiot. They don't want to be Bob. They want to be the guy who comes in and be like, see, I fucking told you. So no, this is a dangerous moment for Republicans. So they will do shit like articles of impeachment. Trump will come out and say that his party should be refunded the $280 million that they spent on attack ads. They'll say anything because they are desperate to not run.
I heard that he asked for a refund.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
From who?
The RNC.
From Democrats.
Like,
what?
Give me my money back. Like, again, this nigga's a psychopath. He doesn't know how to pay. He don't pay his own workers. Like, yo, give me my money back. Yo. I put money into this campaign ad for this guy. And he's not running no more. It's like, you don't know how things work, do you?
Like, bro, that's a you problem. That's not a us problem. Like, you expect that.
And
if anything, your attack ads worked.
You're right.
Yeah, they did. He's no longer running. Thumbs up.
You won.
Dickhead.
This is an opportunity for white folks to say, the same white folks who said, I would have voted for Obama a third time if I could have. Well, here's your chance.
Here you go, motherfucker. Yeah. Here's
bragging
your get out
rights
moment.
for all the white folks who want to be like, who want to impress their black friends, or now I guess their Southeast Asian friends now. I voted for the first black Indian woman for president. Use that as a pickup line or whatever. They will. 100%.
If I was Nikki Haley, boy, I'd just be sitting there looking them dead in the eye with a smug ass look on my face, like,
Right here, motherfucker. I was right here.
Mhm.
But it's funny because reports are that he's kind of unhappy with JD Vance because Kamala is getting the nomination. I'm like, yeah. And Nikki Haley's like, I fucking told you, bro. I was right here the whole time.
That man, JD,
I want to
JD
see
Vance
that.
was like,
I want to see that.
was
debate.
like,
It would have been good.
was like, I drink Diet Mountain Dew, and that's right. And the and liberals will call it racist. I was like,
And everyone's like,
that's not even funny.
it was
I
like,
sat there, I was like, where's the joke?
yeah, where's the punchline?
Everything is
Like,
racist, guys.
They're not funny, yo.
Oh, you're
They're
not
not
laughing.
funny.
Oh, okay.
They're not
Please-
funny because you have
please
to have
clap.
a certain
Please
level.
clap.
You have to have a certain level of empathy to be able to, know what humor is. Because they just don't have it.
This shit didn't even make sense. Why the fuck would somebody say Mountain Dew is racist? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, get the fuck
Diet
off the
Mountain
stage,
Dew.
man.
Diet Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's the racist kind. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I mean, if
The,
anything,
the known liberal stance of
fat
hating
phobic.
soda. All right.
What the fuck?
So, and it's the thing, like with Kamala Harris is like, because she's been in high office for the last few years, and we all of the controversy that would have surrounded a candidate around this time, like I feel like we've already dealt with a lot of that. And I'm even seeing people bring up like her prosecutorial record and stuff like that, and as a DA, whatever. And I'm seeing people say like, we don't care. Here is the facts, and like there's Reese Colbert from Black Women Views, who's been following Kamala Harris for quite some time and has all the information on her. But also their only attack against Kamala Harris is like that, hey guys, did y'all know she was fine back in the day? Did y'all know she used to be like Montel Williams?
I need people to I need Republicans to realize like every time you pull up a picture of her back in the day, I'm like, you ain't losing that woman no votes, man. Like, it's like, oh, she used to date Montel Williams. Montel Williams like, show the tape, nigga. Look at what I was doing. Look what I was doing back in the day. Like,
and she's still fine. She's still
a very
fine.
good looking woman. Yeah, look, fine by me. You don't hear me complaining, as some people are want to say. So, like, let's talk about the sort of her history from the sort of prosecutorial aspect, right? This was a line that I think did her real damage when she ran in the primary in 2020, and look, it's interesting, right? Because when you go back and you look at that race, there were so many people in it, and she got kind of turfed out fairly early. But more of it, it felt like kind of voluntary. Like, all right, I don't think I'm not surging, so it's like I'm just going to step aside, which clearly was the correct move for her, I guess. But it is interesting to kind of go back and dig into the details of her history, So I was watching this video, and this guy had made a couple of comments, and so I kind of went through it and then tried to verify what he was saying. In 2005, when she was a district attorney of San Francisco, she launched something called the Back on Track program, which is a reentry initiative aimed at reducing recidivism among low-level drug trafficking defendants, combining strict accountability with real opportunities for self-improvement. The program reports that less than 10% of its graduates reoffended, a success achieved, moreover, at the fraction of the cost of traditional prosecution and jail time. That program was only for 18 to 30-year-olds who were facing charges on their first felony, which was a low-level drug sale. These people would be charged, right? And they would have to plead guilty, and then immediately their time in jail would be like kind of frozen. And it said like, listen, you can join into this program. You can do 6 weeks of this program. If you do the 6 weeks of community service and everything is like good and you get through the 6 weeks, then it's another 12 to 18 month program where they like teach you like life skills as far as it's like community service and like childcare and all these other things, right? And they do that for 12 to 18 months. And if you passed all of that, you go back in front of the judge. The the bot program, as they call it, was like, yeah, this person passed, everything was good. They expunge your record, right? The fact that the recidivism rate for those people was less than 10% comparative to people not in that system, which is like, I want to say it's like 50%, like 58% or something like that, is a significant difference. And that's a program, not that she took over, but that she created and implemented, right? So this idea of her being sort of anti, these particular types of situations is not telling the whole story, let alone like marijuana convictions in San Francisco, right? The lowest it had ever been was like in reality, the lowest it ever really had been is 59 marijuana convictions in 1982, right? Because before that it was like 18. So it was like they could barely find anybody, probably because everybody was smoking weed and they didn't give a shit, right? So 1982, let's start there. Or even let's say 1980, right? The year roughly the year three of us here were alive. 38 marijuana convictions in 1980. At the highest point was in 1993 was 510 marijuana convictions.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, like that's just San Francisco, right? This is not all of California.
Yeah.
Right. So it's 510 marijuana convictions. That's, to me, feels like surprisingly low, like for marijuana convictions. But okay, that's the height. When she comes in, she's there from 2004 to 2010. Her first year, it gets down to 277, right? The height, a couple years before that was 510. She brings it down to 277 from the previous year of 316. She gets it, then by 2006, she gets it down to 185. It spikes under her, which I think this is what a lot of people talk about, right? And again, it's half the story. It spikes up to 442 in 2008, right? And that's where I think people go, see, all these marijuana convictions under her, that's super fucking high. Second highest in the history. Except for by the time she left, 2 years later, it was 162, which was the lowest it had been in 21 years. So I'm not sure what happened in that like 1 year span where it increased. I honestly don't know. But for her, she was able to drop it to the lowest in an entire generation. Again, that's the whole story, right? And then the numbers, people would say, oh, but then the numbers got super low after her. But that's when they legalized weed.
Right.
Or like a lot of medicinal marijuana laws passed. So it's not like, oh, we got Kamala out of there, so now everything is good. No, that's not telling the whole story. So yeah, it's something like of the 1,000 people who were arrested, and again, it's half the story. The 1,000 people who were arrested during her tenure, 45 of them were convicted. Like they would arrest people because like, yo, we caught you with drugs, but only 45 of them were convicted and sentenced to state prison. 45 in her entire time. Again, you got to tell the whole story of these people because it's so easy to take out of context information. Now, does that mean she's perfect on these things? No. And some people, like some reports I was reading, some people said she's very aggressive. And other people said she was the most liberal prosecutor they've ever seen in California's history. So like you just have to do a little bit more digging than she a cop, yo. Like that's laziness. Like it's just super lazy. So there is a lot more to tell about her story. But it does seem like she is pretty goddamn progressive, not just for California, but for a prosecutor at that level.
I mean, she sounds like an attorney. She sounds like she's very pragmatic. Like that's how they have to think, right?
Right.
And I can see. Look, I maybe it's me making excuses for this woman. Maybe it's just me making excuses for an attorney, right? Because I know an attorney, right? It's when you are younger as an attorney. And you are like at the height of your, powers, so to speak. You have to think in facts and like you have to be super pragmatic, right? Because if you put your that's how those people are able to do their job, right? Like that's how people are able to defend known criminals, right? That's how people are like, and not even known criminals, like murderers, yo. Like they have to be like super pragmatic and have to compartmentalize things. As you get older, that stuff tends to kind of not fade away, but you become less of a robot, right? You become less of, well, you committed a crime and crime is bad, therefore you go to jail, right? It's just like you are a cop, right? Like there's you become more nuanced. And that's what this, and I have to imagine that being the vice president of the United States for 4 years, going around talking to actual human beings, that does something to you, right? She's not going to be this unfeeling robot that everyone thinks women in power are, right? Like they have to be unthinking robots, or else they'll be emotional meat bags, and there's no middle ground at all. Right. When the fact of the matter is, women,
I guess it's honestly the opposite. Men. Niggas are like that. Men are that.
Like men are super fucking emotional because like you look.
Anger's an emotion. You're a robot or you want to kill somebody. That's just the two.
Didn't you just hear what I said about Byron Donalds? Extremely emotional. I fucking hate that.
I don't like that either.
All you gotta do is make fun of Donald Trump. You go into a debate, you make fun of Donald Trump for a second, even on the sly, right? That nigga would discombobulate.
Yeah, like, you won't know what to do. There's no one who's more emotional than Donald Trump in politics. Are you serious? Yeah, 3 a.m, like, I'm gonna fucking tweet about it. Like, yeah, it's extremely emotional.
I mean, hearing what you said about her record. I mean, what that says to me is, like, in a time where marijuana was not legalized, that she and her office did whatever they could to make sure that people weren't getting extensive punishment for something that's relatively harmless. And I think that's important to know, because at the end of the day, she's still a prosecutor at that time. She still had to do her job. She couldn't just like let people, I guess, or recommend that people don't get prosecuted for things like that. But also, I feel like this may be really controversial considering that we're on a Black podcast, but you need progressive prosecutors too. Like you need someone that's going to look at the, look at the laws that we have and advocate for them to be enforced as humanely as possible, and even reshape how we think about different laws in our country. And when you have this, almost feels like a movie, and which really sucks, but the fact that you have the other guy who has cheated and done a bunch of other highly illegal things his whole life. I mean, what better person to go up against him than someone who has dealt with people like that her whole career? You need that.
A pragmatic prosecutor. Wow. Like, who'd have thought?
Because something else I've been seeing is just like, and I would like to say these people are bots, but no, because I do think people really are. I shouldn't call them stupid. I should just say that they're lacking certain critical thinking skills, and maybe they'll grow. But
being incredibly kind.
But I've been seeing people say like, people say like, well, guys, she's still one person. She's still going to be overseeing genocide and blah blah blah, blah and overseeing a world power that in a system that keeps us oppressed. And I'm like, okay, then what do y'all want?
Cool. Here's an idea: build a rocket and go to the fucking Mars. Shut up. I'm so tired of it. Yo. I'm sick of it. Like, you don't live in the real world, yo. You don't live in the real world. It's a country of 325 million people. Like,
I saw someone say yesterday, some of us aren't interested in participating in this system designed to keep us down when we're trying to do the work to dismantle it. I'm like, y'all, you're not dismantling a goddamn thing. Shut up.
Like, you're not doing.
And you probably
work.
weren't.
What are you doing? You're tweeting on Twitter. You're
Right, you're
Twitter.
not working.
You're doing
Right, that's
shit.
it, Terrence. That's it,
Shut the
Terrence.
fuck
You're
up.
not working.
Hold on. They're doing the work to dismantle the system by not voting. What?
Exactly. I was like, so you would rather go through fascism and have this quote unquote revolution? Shout out to Susan Sarandon. Well, look, where's she at? I just want to talk to her about some stuff.
Yeah. She ain't nowhere to be found. Nowhere.
Like, people would rather have this country go straight to hell, but also have real people and real lives affected by what the Republicans have planned if they win, rather than just go up the fucking street and vote for Democrats. And honestly, I'm really, really fucking tired of people feeling like they have to be ashamed of saying, I'm voting for Democrats. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Because it's not a both sides type of thing.
The fuck? Look, I have put out many a time, like, step up, motherfucker. Like, I will debate you. Like, I have no problem in telling you who I'm voting for. What the fuck? Like, to me, this is an existential threat for wanting to live in a democracy or wanting to live in under a fascist regime. That is it. Period.
That's it.
Like, you can say, oh, but like, that woman who runs that Bad Faith podcast, who I think is just like, the name is supposed to be ironic, unfortunately, and it's not for you. Like, they're like, oh, people don't want to talk about what's going on in Gaza. Anybody who is a reasonable human being thinks it's terrible.
Can I say something about Gaza really quickly? And this is going to be like this. These are my thoughts.
Go ahead.
No one else's
Go
thoughts.
ahead.
Hold on. Let me run a fucking panel. Like, these thoughts are already.
Like, I've read up on the 70 plus year issues that they've had. And here's my thing. There are a lot of younger, like, there's people in colleges that are like, they're protesting and all that. That's fine. I get that. I get all of that. And the way Joe has handled that, it's been fucking terrible. It is.
Agreed.
It's been terrible. 100%. It's trash. But you niggas don't really give a fuck. I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you. Like, and I'm saying that in a way, I'm like, I don't really care about Israel. I don't really care about Gaza either. I hate the fact that they're murdering people. That it's pretty much a genocide. Like, it is. They've killed over 40,000 people so far, if not more.
Right.
And like, Hamas killed 3,000. It's fucked up. The same people that died in 9/11. So 40,000, 3,000 is kind of fucked up. But like, you don't really care about those people. Like, if I had friends that were like, from Gaza and everything, I would care about their families and all of that. But you don't care about those people. You don't. You just care about the fact that, like, you. That's all I'm saying. I don't really care. I care because I'm empathetic to the cause, but I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't affect me personally, And I feel like a lot of people feel that way, but they're online. They're perpetually online, and they feel like they have to say something, and they're always complaining about shit.
I care, but I don't care enough to boycott the new Captain America movie.
Look, I
also share that exact same feeling, right?
Is that like a real thing? Like, people?
Yes, people are boycotting it because a character. Because there was a character,
Israeli character,
that they've changed. So their argument is, what exactly? Well, why isn't it an Israeli character who hates Palestinians? Because that would be really insensitive. But you should leave it in so that you can be offended. Yes. So I'm not going to see it because you changed it so I wouldn't be offended. What are we even talking about right now? It feels like you're bullshitting all of us. It's dumb. Shut up. You don't actually care.
I will say I also care, and I think it's horrible. And to all my K-pop stans who are listening, your favorite K-pop idols don't know how to talk about Gaza, so please stop threatening to boycott them because
stop
Starbucks
getting people that don't know shit about none of that. Like, come on.
Like, they don't let them make their music and like be pretty, okay? But I find that the people who are like, I'm not voting for either candidate because I care about free Palestine. I'm like, well, what if Donald Trump gets into office? What do you think happens?
You're gonna fucking
But-
you're
but-
gonna
I
be
mean,
like, go ahead and finish the
what
job.
do you think happens?
That's what he
Well,
said, right?
Yes, but
That's what he said.
Right, but this is what they say. We can't worry about Donald Trump right now, as if that's just not a factor. They don't live in a fact-based world. Look, this to Micah's point earlier. When you get older, and I hate to make it about this, but when you get older, you do tend to see life in more nuance. Is what's happening in Gaza horrendous? It is horrendous. Anybody,
Right.
whether you think Israel should have a right to defend or Hamas has a right to defend, whatever you think, innocent people being killed on either side is disgusting. The ratio of the amount of innocent Palestinians who've been killed is abhorrent, right?
Yeah.
All of that being said, I personally, as a human being, am really disgusted by that situation, and I feel very, very I feel a lot of empathy towards the people who are going through that. However, I don't value that level of empathy higher than I value my parents' safety in the United States. That's how I look at it. Because if you want to turn off and say, well, I'm not going to do these things, that's cool. So when they march your fucking ass out in front of a firing line in the United States because it's become a fascist state, because you don't agree with the president, because you've allowed that asshole to get into power, what does that help the kid who lost their family in Gaza? It doesn't do anything. You can have empathy for those people, and you should. If you are a reasonable human being, you should. But you don't torture entire society to prove that. That doesn't make any sense. And look, if you feel like, well, I just don't want to do that, then here's an idea. Book a flight and you go to fuck over there. Okay? Because I can guarantee you that when you get over there, you ask any Gazan who's over there suffering in that shit, be like, hey, you want to go to America and vote in my place? They'd be like, hey, good luck, buddy. I'm out of here. They'll take your place happily. So it's not about this idea of, I feel so bad for those people, so I'm willing to let all my fellow Americans live in a fascist state. And to that, I say, go fuck yourself. Oh, but I'm on the left, and I feel really strongly about stuff. You don't feel strongly enough about helping your fellow man that's sitting right next to you.
Right.
And to Terrence's point, you don't actually give a fuck. You don't. Nope. Because if you gave a fuck, you'd be trying to keep the people in power who are going to do the least amount of damage, not the most amount of damage. Right. There are, in fact, levels to this shit. So this idea of like, oh, well, if Joe Biden stays in or if Kamala Harris wins, then it'll be just as bad as Donald Trump. It simply will not be. Yeah. You guys got really complacent and very arrogant because you survived 4 years under Donald Trump. Spoiler alert.
So many people didn't.
A million plus people did not.
Yep.
So I'm not interested in those fucking bad faith people and anybody who listens to that show and takes it seriously. You're clowns to me. You're fucking clowns to me because you don't live in a fact-based reality. Just like that person who said they wrote on the Nerdpocalypse comment section because you're too much of a punk bitch to write it on this show. And said, oh, Jay's always trying to call people out. And I said, yeah, I will call you out. And then I listed all the shit and I called their asses out. And what did they do? They deleted their comment like a fucking coward. So no, I don't have any problem in calling people out because I believe it. I'm not saying something to get clicks. I believe it. If you are more worried about people tens of thousands of miles away from you and whether they're dying, and you should care about them, but you don't care enough about protecting your parents, protecting your friends, protecting yourself in the society in which you live over that, that's insane to me. You're allowed to have two thoughts in your goddamn head at the same time. This is fucked up. Let's try to make it less fucked up. That should be your fucking MO, not this fucked up. I guess I'll just turn the fuck off then. Now, what are you, 6? That's how a fucking toddler thinks. I'm pretty sure my daughter's smarter than that.
Like, what the fuck? And a few things add on to that. For all of the people who are, especially like all like the younger college kids who were thinking about sitting out this election, but yet were on their campuses and stuff like that, protesting. I'm like, do you think under a Trump administration Republican regime that they will allow that? Like, I mean, he's talking about having protesters shot, and y'all, and these are new adults who would get those very real bullets from protesting anything under Republicans.
You think this is a video?
Like this they do. They think a lot of people think that this is a movie in which like there's a happy ending, but sometimes bad guys win, and they won in 2016, and a lot of people died. A lot of people are still going to be suffering under it. I mean, like even just thinking about something like abortion, which another reason why Kamala Harris is like the right person for this moment. Absolutely. How many people who got pregnant, and this is, and I'm not talking about people who voted for Trump or didn't vote for Trump, just period, because I don't think people who voted Republican deserve this either. Which is like you get pregnant and then you realize your pregnancy isn't safe, and you live in a state where abortion is all but banned. That they want that for everybody, no matter whether you live in California or if you live in New York. And when it comes to things like Gaza or anything about foreign policy, sometimes it is about the mitigation of damage and trying to salvage what you can. And with things like that, there's no. We know the answer is a ceasefire, but when you're dealing with so many different players in such a history like that, it's not easy to get to. So you're just hoping that try to save as many lives as possible. But a lot of people don't want they don't want to see that level of nuance, and a lot of them don't really appreciate it. And they also don't appreciate the fact that they can voice their opinions about Joe Biden and not have to worry about them and their families getting arrested. And thrown into a prison for going against the president. And then the other thing is, I've always felt this way, but I feel this way even more now, which is as an American citizen, you have a responsibility to not just vote for yourself and your families, but for the whole world. America's far too powerful to allow someone like Donald Trump and the Republicans implement everything they want to do in Project 2025. So you're not just, fucking us over. You're fucking over so many people who cannot afford to have a rogue United States again. You can't. And if anything, I've wondered how world leaders are seeing this moment, and if they had contingency plans for a possible, not just a Trump presidency, but just like a fascist United States for possibly the rest of our lives. And I wish more people thought about it in that way, because maybe it sombers the moment and you don't quote unquote need to get excited. I am excited about this moment, but I don't need to be excited to vote. I just need to know what the stakes are, and then I'm going to do what I need to do. I understand for a lot of people, they need that. And if that's what we need for this moment, great. But a moment like this is not always going to happen. You're going to have another election in 2 years, and hopefully we're still showing up and all the numbers that we have right now. But there are just a lot of people who don't see the gravity in what their vote holds, and it's pretty simple to vote. It's simple. It's much easier to vote than wake up every morning and seeing Obama era thing roll back, or a Trump judge does this, or Supreme Court does this. I hate June. I really hate almost like this time of year, because when Supreme Court is in session, I'm wondering what right are we going to lose this year?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, look, we talked about Project 2025 2 weeks ago, and that's disheartening as fuck. And it's super serious, but like this idea that you mentioned, like in 2 years, there's another election. In 2 years, there's another election, right? And we're talking about the off elections, not just the presidential elections, because all of it matters. And Brad and I talked about that on Look Forward, like this idea when people are just like, I already voted. Like, why do I get every time you guys say that this is the most important election? But it's the most important one because you don't, because people are not consistent. Like you allow it to get to brinkmanship because you go, I'm not going to worry about it. Those old white people vote every single election. They drag their asses right to the polls and they vote every time. It is our job to now, as we are getting older, to be those people on the other side. You need to be invested in giving a shit about your politics and about what the country is. Like when you were 18, you were like, I'm just going to vote for the cool person I like or whatever. But when you start to get older, you start to realize like those votes affect your taxes. They affect your local judges. They affect everything going from all the way down to your local level to up to the White House. You have to be invested. You don't get a chance to turn off. It is an unfortunate thing about being older, but you have responsibilities. And one of the responsibilities is to keep the fucking country afloat, because democracy dies by one, incompetence, but mostly through apathy. Because people have this assumption that things are going to stay the same, right? It's the, what do they call it in basketball? The hot hand theory, right? If a basketball player makes 2 shots in a row, he's definitely going to make the third. No, that is not how statistics work. Like, you are not guaranteed anything. I don't care if the basketball is on fire in his NBA jam. It doesn't mean that you're going to make the shot, right? So you have to be invested in what happens. And that means you have to be truly read up and educated on these things as they come. It's just a part of being an adult. It sucks. I wish I could just turn the fuck off, but you can't. That doesn't mean you got to follow it 100%, 24 hours a day. But when this shit comes up, you got to pay attention. And so, look, I love the rise of Kamala Harris. I think it's great. It is timed in a way that you can only do that in a storybook, right? Like, the old white guy leaves and here comes the young hotshot type of shit. And that's great. Take that opportunity and fucking do what Terrence said the other day. Stick it to the honkies. Right? Like this is our, in all seriousness, but for real, like this is an opportunity in our lifetime to do it again. Like it was like, oh shit, we got Barack Obama. Like that's amazing. We ain't gonna see this shit for like 40 years, and here it is again. Which means these things are coming, right? Like these things are coming again and again. Look, they're gonna be first Asian president. Right? Balanced budget. Like, it's all, it's a Chris Rock joke. It's fucked up and it's funny. Those things are coming, right? Like, look, we're not far off. Like, Pete Buttigieg is in the talk for VP. How far do you think we're off from the first LGBTQ president?
Is he
We're
not 40 yet?
That only
no, he's not. He's like 39 or 38. We're not far off of these.
But that future only happens if you vote this time, because Trump win. There is no. I mean, look, Russia still has elections.
Yeah, he just kills all the
they still have elections.
They still have elections.
Yeah. By the way, I'm sorry, Pete Buttigieg is 42.
Balconies. Okay.
He's 42.
He's 42. So yes, he could be president. But yes, to your point, keep going.
Like, sure. I mean, like there is no guarantee that if the Republicans win, that we will have the opportunity to elect the first gay person or the first Asian person or trans person, whatever, down the line. That is like, I mean, 2016 was most important election. This one is even more important, which I can't believe I'm freaking saying that. But I mean, you want, if you want the future to look like, with having people in office who care about climate change and universal basic income and all the great stuff, you need to vote the right way this election.
You have to.
I mean, it's that simple, and I think people try to contort themselves into trying to not make it that simple because they want to feel like they're not part of the system, but you are part of the system. You're part of this. Like, I don't. I was in the mountains for 4th of July. It was hot as fuck up there. And I have seen people.
It was a million degrees down here. Knock it off.
It was hot. It was like 100
Again,
degrees.
It's not our fault that you decided to sit on the equator, man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's not. You're right. You're right.
With your beautiful ocean blue water that you have access to all the
For
time.
now, you assholes keep throwing trash in it.
Well, you know what?
Stop throwing trash on the ground, yo. It's hot down here.
Then if you want people to care about the environment, elect people who care about the environment.
Right.
But this but people being contrarian about their role as a citizen, I'm like, you're going to pay for it one way or another.
Yeah.
If you don't participate, just fucking vote.
Yeah, the 50-foot waves don't give a fuck whether you voted for Jill Stein, motherfucker. Like, it doesn't care. By the way, these same people said that they're trying to get Jill Stein up to 26%. I'm like,
what the fuck is it like?
Yeah.
By the way, what is Jill Stein going to do as president when she don't have anybody in her party in Congress?
Because there's like 7 people in her party, if that.
Oh, what about Cornel West? Isn't Cornel West still?
I think he dropped out. He dropped out.
And then nigga's too busy fucking scrounging up money for child support or what the fuck. His problem is whatever the fuck going on with him. What is it? Alimony, child support? One of them, damn.
So yeah, something. I think it's child support. But yeah, she wouldn't be able to do anything. Again, I know this because, and it's weird to say this, I live in a world with facts. I don't live in a world of fantasy and rainbows and like in chocolate pouring out of the sky. Like, guys, in 2024, you have a choice. It is between most likely Kamala Harris and a guy who is a buffoon. Okay, that is the choice. Everything else is nonsense.
I remember how I felt that morning when back in 2016.
I felt sick to my stomach.
I remember that night when Trump was winning, and I'm like, this don't make any goddamn sense. Huh? Trump versus Hillary, and I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm going to bed, and I woke up, and he was the presumptive winner. I was like, I felt sick to my stomach.
I literally did.
Physically felt sick to my stomach. I don't want to feel like that again.
Me too.
I really don't.
And I don't. I mean, because I will, would like to have children someday, but the way that this world is so fucked right now, I'm like, why would I? Why would I want that?
Nah, if Trump win, don't do that.
Don't do
like,
yeah, just wait.
Like, no, wait. What do you mean? I have to wait until the next lifetime.
Flee.
Like, no,
flee, nigga. Flee, nigga, flee.
I mean, I don't know if this
get
is
the
true.
News, get the news at your local airport, and then be like, "Oh, he won. I'm out."
Told you. I told. I'm going south. I'm gonna stay with Jay and his family. Yep.
Huh? K?
Hola. Donde es la biblioteca?
Look, that's the only shit you need to know.
I hope you know more than that by now. Like, you should.
I know things.
Okay. But like, I don't know if this is true because I saw it on Twitter, but like someone was like, if Kamala Harris was president for 8 years, she could nominate up to 4 Supreme Court justices.
It's
as it stands right now.
At least 2 of those assholes are gonna fucking want to kick off, right? Alito and Thomas. And then Sonia Sotomayor is over 70. And I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but like, she's over 70. She's got, she's not in the best of health. She thinks she has type 1 diabetes as well.
She has type 1 diabetes, yes.
Yeah. So like, I'm gonna kind of need that, like, put that like arm around her, be like, look, you've done a great job. You're from the Bronx. We love you. You need to retire. We need you to retire. Look, and that way we can get ourselves an infant who believes what you believe, and they can be in the court forever. Okay, like
wait a second. Are the 3 progressive judges, are they all women? And the rest of them are fucking
yes. Well, Amy Coney Barrett is conservative too.
No, I'm saying that but
of other progressive,
it's progressive judges. There's only 3 of them, correct?
Yeah, it's Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown, and Elaine Kagan. Yep,
Elaine Kagan. Yeah, that's a damn shame. Yeah, all them niggas, all the men on that bunch of fucking
clowns.
And also, federal judgeships also matter. Yeah, you have student loans, and you saw what was it? The SAVE program.
Yeah,
they put a stop to that for a little bit. It's like, it's little stuff like that, and I know, like, we talk about how local elections impact you first, but it all impacts you.
Yep.
At the end of the day, so
yeah, I mean, imagine Harris getting those SCOTUS votes, and then being like, oh, you thought I was done on the school loan shit? Oh, now I got a SCOTUS that'll get this shit through. Boom. Done, right? And then people go, oh, it turns out this shit matters. Yeah, it matters. It matters a fucking lot. It's a big deal.
And I think if you're someone that's like looking at the Supreme Court right now, thinking how they're out of fucking control because there's no one to check them, this is an opportunity to push a potential Harris administration to introduce something to reform the Supreme Court. So even if you do have a Republican administration again, the Supreme Court won't basically be like, hey, if this guy gets in office, he's basically immune from doing pretty much anything. We will protect him.
Yeah. So
like look, that is insane. I'm still just angry over that.
Again, Trump supporters think it was really cool because it benefited him. I'm like, I don't think you understand what the law is. You don't understand what the laws are. And so it's this outsized viewpoint that just because it benefits their guy, then it's A-okay. It's like, dude, if a liberal Supreme Court comes down the line and was like, let's keep this immunity thing and just let a Democratic president run roughshod over the law, you would be screaming your head off. And by the way, you'd be correct to do so. That's why we don't have these type of immunity clauses, because they're dangerous. So yeah, there's a lot that Democrats could do, and there's a lot very specifically that she could do. Her getting 3, possibly 4, I mean 3 is more likely, Supreme Court justices. That's a big fucking deal. That's a 5-4 court. That means that for a generation, Democrats could run the board and do what the fuck they want to do, which is codify Roe. Well, they'd codify Roe in Congress, but secure, women's bodily autonomy, secure things like Obergefell for, marriage equality and things like that. Those are big deals. I don't understand the idea of, especially black people who don't see those as big, but you should. Like marriage equality, if you're like, oh, well, I'm against gay marriage. Yeah, but if they go after Obergefell, it means that they could go after Loving versus Virginia if they wanted to. Now, maybe that doesn't affect you directly. That may not affect you directly, but it affects me. What the fuck? Like, I think that shit is important.
And Byron Donalds.
And yeah, right. And Clarence Thomas. What the fuck? They're like, we knocked it down. All right, baby, we got to get a divorce. It was a rough day at work. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. So, all of that stuff does matter. It matters quite a lot, but it fundamentally starts to break down what the country is. And this idea that the country will stay the way it was just because it was that way when you grew up. No, that is a false thought process. And it is way easier to destroy things, as we talked about, than it is to build them. So if they want to come out with all these legislations, again, you can read Project 2025. The shit is in the light, my nigga. Like, they have a website. You can just read this shit. When you read it, and you read it with a critical eye, you can see just a full decimation of the United States and turning it into what could only be argued into a kleptocracy, which is where rich people just rip everyone else off and everyone else just suffers under it. No thanks.
Yep.
No thanks. So, Mexico already has a woman president. It's time for their first one just recently. So it's time
weren't there like 20 like assassinations leading up to that election though?
All right, you're talking about a lot of old shit. That was like 35. Man. Like it was like mad political assassination. Most of that, by the way, is there was the chief of police in Mexico City got like hit by the cartel yesterday. I was like, ooh, glad I don't live there. God damn.
Oh man, I'm going to Mexico City.
It's apparently pretty great, but like there's some dangerous parts. I mean, it's a city of like 22 million people. It was like mad people there. It's too many for me. But no, a lot of those political assassinations are in not anywhere where I am, but in a lot of places that have sort of long held political unrest where the government has kind of fucked over citizens. That's where those things were happening. A lot of it. So, no, it's not. Look, again, do you want a situation where America is having a bunch of political assassinations? I would argue we do not. We do not.
I know people make jokes online, but I'm like, y'all don't want this society to become something like that, where running for office endangers your life, or protesting endangers your life. You don't want to live in that society.
No,
you really don't.
You're not built for that, first of all.
You're not built for that. No, and like it kind of going back to the Gaza thing, like the fact that you have so many people online who are talking about it and are passionate, and I'm not saying to not be that, but you have the option to turn off and go do something else with your life. Like if you can hashtag free Palestine and things like that, and then go and watch your favorite show or watch sports or whatever, just think about what that means for your life, because the people they're talking about don't have that option, but you do. And you have it right now because there are people who make sure that that's the society that you get to live in. But you only keep that if you vote.
That's it. It's not that hard to understand. It really isn't. All right. I think that is that's a good place to stop for us for the preview episode. Again, we will be back next week for the inspection. Again, you can check that out. Micah says he thinks it's on Netflix, but you can also check it out by renting and what have you. So we'll have a deep conversation about that. Should be pretty interesting. I would say you should probably, if you've not already listened, you should go back to our 6th episode on the movie Pariah, because I have a feeling it is going to be a very similar conversation. And that was a very good movie. And do yourself a favor. All right. That's it for us. We will see you guys next time.
See ya.
Take it easy.
Bye.
You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of Black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the Black community.